Welcome everyone, here Fury22, and today we're gonna start working on the 5.4. I know it's not fully released just yet, but it's very interesting, the component system in there, so just let's get straight into that. In this video, what we're going to do, we're pretty much going to um, go to Cryengine 5.4 and create new template, and then see how the components work and what we can do, and also we're going to create a new component ourselves. So 5.4, I already showed in the previous videos how to where to download 5.4. This is preview 4, so the newest one, I mean, at the moment. So yeah, I'm gonna go here to templates, CPP, and gonna grab third person shooter, because why not? Doesn't matter which one. We're gonna go with this, and then we're gonna go and see, and copy to projects or tutorials and place it here. Paste it, I mean. Okay, there it is. So tutorial CPP. Okay, so now, since the preview 4 fixed the problem with generating solution, so I can just generate it easily. It's very cool. Also, oh yeah, here the best depends what Visual Studio you have. I use 2017 and Windows 64-bit, so generate it. And we'll see what happens. Yep, solution is generated. So let's go into this game.solution. Let it initialize as always, and now that's gonna be quick. It's a little thing. So in the game, that's all your files here, and as you can see, it's much different from what was in 5.3 even, and there's a lot that has a lot of things have changed, and trust me, we have to like learn it again. So as you can see, no game rules here. We got game plugin over here. It works slightly different. The player is spawned over here like before in game plugin, but the thing they did here, it was, wait, connection received, yeah, the pretty much how the component system works now is all entities are the same entity, default class entity, which is pretty like basic, completely basic entity without any functionality, but it is entity, it exists. So as well as, I mean, player is also the default component, so the player is spawned here in the new name, it's obviously player, and then it chooses the component to attach to the player, the main component, which would be player component over here. It's this one here, player component, you can see, and that's how it works. So it's much different, but it's much better. Trust you, once you learn the component system, you're gonna be amazed by the possibilities it gives to you. So what we can do now, let's just maybe create some simple component and expose it to the editor. Pretty cool. So I'm gonna use some help on the right from my project. Okay, I got the help now up here, so let's go the weapon system. So first of all, what we gotta do is we're gonna put it inside of these components here, so folder. So new item, browse it. I'm gonna go to the storage cpp code components. We're gonna put everything here. So we're gonna call it weapon component. Okay, cpp file, and also add new item header file, weapon component. So we got the weapon component over here. Also, right away we're gonna register it here. So let's place components and weapon component dot cpp, and then weapon component dot h. Save it. That's it. And now in weapon component dot h, we're gonna include a couple of things to create new component. Include item system. Oh, sorry, not item system. It was entity. Entity system, entity components. Then we're gonna include as well entity system entity. That's pretty much it. So now we're going to create the component itself. It's gonna be structure. You can do class if you want, doesn't matter really. Oh yeah, let's do class. Class C weapon component, and it's gonna be final here. Public entity component, and public over here. And let's go right into this and create the simple things that components should have. So C weapon component, default virtual. This is constructor and destructor. So C weapon component. Okay. If you don't need this, you can create a simple normal constructor that you would do normally, but obviously, and you can also use some variables over here, but okay, maybe for the other video. Okay, now what you need for the component is, would be cool if you open actually this thing here. As you can see, it has okay, there's gonna be quite a lot to go through. So let's open player. It's gonna be simpler here. Okay, you need initialize method here. Initialize. You will need process even and get even mask. You don't need these three, of course. You don't need them at all. If you don't have them, the component will still appear in the editor. But you know, you're gonna have reflect type. This is something that you really need for the component. Without this, probably not gonna show up in the editor. It probably won't even compile. And your class name has to be here as a parameter. I mean, part of the parameter. And yeah, that's pretty much all we need for now. And let's create a definitions of it. So initialize, we don't do anything just yet. And with the other method that is called here, and it's wait, let me find that one. Just give me a second. Okay. This is just don't worry about this. There's a lot to talk about, so I may not cover everything in this video, because come on, really a lot of things have changed, and like, you know, putting it back again in one video would be just too much. And okay, what events you're gonna need. Event mask is a function that will register events for you, so later you can catch those events in process event, which is quite cool. So you need to register them, and the way to register them is entity event start game. You don't need this event, but yeah. If you want to do something to this entity on start game, then this event will already work for you. This is a couple of events that I use usually because they're quite useful. Update. This is this actually, from my understanding, this is like replacement for the update function that used to be in there. Bit 64 entity. Okay, so that's pretty much enough for now. You can have timer as well, like entity event timer or something like this. You have a lot of entities events. If you want, just double click it and right click and go to definition. You can find all of these events that even if you want event collision, this is something that will allow you to catch collisions. Process event, at the moment we don't do anything in there, but yeah, reflect type is very important. And the most important thing is the GUI, which is like you go now and refer to this description, set, and then go like this. And now to create your own unique UID, tools, create, and make sure this is the number 4 is ticked. And now create new GUI and copy, and now paste it between in here. Oh damn it, I didn't copy it. Once again. Okay, bang, that's it, that's all you need. Semicolon, obviously, description. Now if you have some other components on the top of this, you create base to this, but maybe also for later. Let's we're gonna do now, we're gonna just give me a second once again. Yeah, so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna give it some functionality for the editor. So set editor category, and we're gonna call it tutorial component description, then set label, and this is gonna be the category of it, of course, and label is the name in the editor that will be shown for this. We'll call it weapon component. Alright, and then description, you can set description, set description, tutorial weapon component. I don't know how to access them or see them in the editor. I don't know, maybe you just have to roll over it, but you never know. And something else here, what you need, description, set so yep, that's it. So now we're gonna leave it like this, and we're gonna actually register this in the editor. So the way to do this is you have to in your component.cpp you have to create a static void register weapon, or you can do whatever you want. You can call it register my component or something. Like I call it like this, schematic. Okay, there's a couple of things we have to include as well. Include, of course, on the very beginning we should do include, but now include, we're gonna include as well schematic environment, and be careful because there is two similar files. One is register like now, and the other is registry. So includes schematic, and of course we're gonna go with environment once again, and elements, and environment component. Yep. So I guess that's gonna be enough for now. But what else we're gonna do is now. Oh no, we already have this function over here. So with this we go schematic registration scope. We create object which is obviously this one. Dot scope entity scope joint. Yep, and now go once again schematic registration scope and component scope register schematic make environment component, and now as weapon weapon component. This is obviously our class name. Obviously notice that this is not a method of this class. This is just a static method that's over here. So yeah. And the last thing, to register this within the editor, you go static auto register function and then register weapon component, which is this function obviously. So now it has no functionality at all, but we can try to build it and see what happens. It's gonna ask you to reload the solution as always, because we've changed the CMake lists. I'm gonna just try to build it once again. Yeah, it's good. So what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna go to the here to my tutorial CPP and run the editor and see what happens over there if my component has actually been registered properly. Once it's registered properly within the editor, then obviously you can start giving it some functionality. But once it's not there, then obviously let's load the example map as always. It's gonna okay, and yeah, components, and our tutorial components, as you can see, it appears over here, and weapon component. Obviously if you drop it here, it does not exist. It doesn't have anything, no functionality at all. Also, if you create new empty entity, you can add this because it's over here, right? So pretty cool. You can, anyway, I'm gonna show you what you can. So yeah, it's registered properly, everything works, cool. So let's say you want to create weapon, because there is a reason I call this weapon component, right? So what do you want to have there? and you're obviously gonna have some, I don't know, models of it. So to add model to the component is actually two ways. One way is to actually, you know, create entity and add the already oh, sorry, I don't know why, but the editor in 5.4 does not like to uh, exit properly sometimes. And yeah, so the way it works, you have a couple of ways to achieve this. You can, first of all, you can obviously drop the empty entity, add your component, whatever functionality it has, and also add some other component, like you want this to be weapon, so let's give it some mesh, right? So there is a mesh over here on it. Let's say it's our weapon, yeah? It's there. And mesh, we got some piece of shit. You can change the files of it, you can change the object. Fuck knows what we want. Oh, actually, I'm gonna use Crytek weapon. Sorry, Crytek. Okay. Um, yep. So we already have the weapon. I know it's similar to Crytek's weapon, but doesn't matter. The model doesn't matter because later you can just change the model over here. You don't have to change it in C++ or any other file. You just go to schematic and change it. And materials as well. So you can use the Crytek's default component mesh to have mesh for your weapon or whatever you want to create. Or you can do it from C++, or you can even attach this from C++ as well. Although, yeah, it's gonna be... Okay, I would do it in C++ if I wanted to create the whole functionality for the weapon, but for now we're gonna keep it like this. So you don't need mesh or physics because it already is in there. So your weapon is pretty much ready. What you need though is like some pretty basic functionality for the weapons. So if you have a weapon, then obviously you would create another functions like weapon system and give it some more functionality, like I don't know, void start fire or void stop fire, void reload, you know, that kind of stuff that weapon usually would have. Or if you have melee weapon, then should be attack or you know, various things. Okay, this is just video about creating components, so I'm gonna give you something else, something fucking cool. Look at this. We go here. Let's say you want to have the weapon recoil and let's say, and you know, the shooting speed. So let's do and you want to have, you know, some properties for the weapon, and you want to adjust these properties in the editor. So the way to do this, you create on the top of your class, but not inside of the class. You create structure, and it will be called, let's say, as weapon properties. Yep, that's it. And we got the properties. Yep. And the way it works is you need to add some properties over here, which is like, what would you want to have for this weapon? Like, let's say float, or yeah, int recoil. You would like to have maybe int reload speed. It could be float or any other variable, you know. I'm just using integer for now, but it's not a big deal. Okay, What else you need for this is, because it's not gonna compile, you need at least one operator, and the way it looks, it's like this. Just copy and paste this, so it fucks off. So if you have different class here, so copy and paste the class over here, I mean structure. And after that, because it's not the end yet, and obviously structure ends like this. And you want to create also static void reflect type, just like it was for your class, but now it's gonna be for the properties. Schematic type description, weapon properties, and description. It exactly looks the same like it was here. Description as before, GUI. We wanna create new copy. We're gonna paste it here. Okay. Description, and now we won't do any editor shit because it's not gonna be. I mean, just don't do it. Just follow as I do, right? So let's set label for it. So the label will be weapon properties. Yep. And then description, let's say, I don't know, let's call it once again weapon property, doesn't matter. It's not, I don't think you need this. You can even delete this if you want. Add member. Now it's getting interesting. Now you need to refer to this class as weapon properties, obviously, and then access which one we want to have on the top. Let's say recoil, yeah, and then you go. Remember, don't use this sign, use that one. So, and max 4 characters can be here. If you press 5, you can see it's gonna be, I don't know what this ID actually is, but it should be, I think, unique. So let's call it iRecoil. It's 4 characters. Then second one is name, and this is gonna be name in XML file that defines the component. So you know, trust me, don't use spaces or anything there. Just use like weapon properties. Do not use space in here, yeah. Where you can use space though, it's not gonna be anything visible in the editor, so you can, you know, call it whatever. Next one will be weapon properties. Oh no, actually this is gonna be like, sorry, I fucked up. Let's call it recoil, and here as well, recoil or recoil amount. Yeah, you can have space over here on this one, not here, not here, but here you can, because it's labeled, it shows in the editor. Okay, next one would be the last one. No, actually this is description as before, so recoil amount for the weapon. Oh, sorry, what double I am here. So now what you're gonna put here is what kind of variable is this? It's int, right? So you're gonna put 0, you know, for the beginning. This is, if you want default value, then put even 5 or 6 or 10, 20, whatever you want. Description, add member, the same shit as weapon properties, but now we're gonna get reload speed. So now quickly I reload speed, and then reload speed, reload speed for the weapon. The description is not important. You can even delete this and leave it like that. Okay, and then the last one, of course, it's gonna be 0 as well, or 5 or 10,000 or whatever you want. So this is the first part that will, you know, show it in the editor. But the second part is gonna be over here. So let's go to the weapon. As you can see, it has the reflect type. So this is not gonna be showing in the editor just yet. Now we have to create object of this structure. So let's go as weapon properties, weapon props. Okay, and now in here, in the actual weapon component class reflect type function, you're gonna just do. Okay, so now the way to do this is you go description, add member, and now also see weapon component. Yeah, and now you're gonna access the S weapon properties, and then as before, exactly the same way. So let's call it as weapon properties, then weapon properties. If you see the label anywhere, you can use spaces and stuff, because this is label, yeah, it's not any name in the file. Weapon properties and description, doesn't matter, and then important thing is as weapon properties, like that. That's it. So now it's gonna show up in the editor, which is something I'm gonna show you anyways. Okay, it failed. Oh, I know why it failed, because I ended the editor and the sandbox did not exit properly again. We have to forgive it, because obviously 5.4 preview release 4 is a preview release. Yeah, it's not a full release, so it might crash sometimes, but everything goes in the right direction, I believe. So now your weapon, if you press on it, you're gonna have weapon component, and you can see our new recoil amount, reload speed, whatever you want to change. It's gonna go to the file. You save it. Pretty cool. So if you want to have some mesh and some other properties, there is a lot of types of properties that you can add over here. You can add enum, which is enumeration properties, which will be like a drop-down list, and you can choose it from the, you know, some predefined I don't know, members of the enumeration. And there are also files that you can. I'm gonna show you quickly some basic shit. If you want to have more weapon properties, I'm gonna put here, let's say, as mesh. Oh, sorry. Let's do cry. Oh no, it was schematic file. Yeah, character file, geometry file, material file, texture name, whatever you want. I'm gonna go for geometry file name, let's say, and we're gonna call it as geometry. And now to add new property, you don't need to do anything in here anymore, just the properties itself. Yeah, so you put, I'm gonna copy this because it's gonna be much quicker for me. And let's do, it was as geometry. Path, and description doesn't matter. and then we leave the empty string instead of 0 because it's not int obviously. Now save it. Oh, no, I'm not building this because my editor probably did not. Yeah, it did not. So now we can build it and see what it has in the editor. It's over here. Geometry path. Write this. And it works properly, so you don't need to write everything because Crytek prepared for you. It's gonna look only for CGF files. There is more and more very cool things for with this component system. But trust me, you can create weapons or whatever you want just in instant. Once you have some cool component done in C++, then just use it in the editor, game editor, and then fucking hell, it's so awesome. And also you can have more properties. I usually do like structure, and I create like, I don't know, let's say mesh properties, and then I put this stuff separately, like geometry separately, and then you just register another one in here, create another object of the next properties in here, you know. So yeah, I guess it's fucking cool. And in the future we're gonna be working only on 5.4, so I'm not again, I can't compile because fucking sandbox, you have to forgive it. And yeah, so in the future I'm gonna be doing only 5.4, I guess, because you know, we have to move forward, move on. 5.4 is so fucking cool and it's worth more attention. So I guess that will be all for today. I hope I helped a lot of you understanding the component system. And yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know what's gonna be the next video, but fuck this. See you in the next video. Oh, I have to stop it.